All right, I'm here with County Executive Scott Walker at the Republican Convention. Scott, what do you think of the convention so far?
Well, Sarah Palin has just been outstanding. I mean, I think she hit a walk-off grand slam home run last night, and I think John McCain's going to be great tonight. The enthusiasm's up. I think a week ago, none of us would have dreamed this convention would be quite as exciting as it is.
So I've heard, well, mainly my wife talk about a Paul Ryan Palin ticket in 2012. What do you think of that?
You know, Sarah, I think, in fact, we talked to a couple people this morning who have gone through conventions from 1980 on, and they said this tops the kind of excitement that they had when Ronald Reagan was first the nominee in 1980. That's saying a lot, particularly at a Republican convention, but I don't think you could get any better than that. So, yeah, you may have seen not just the star on the stage for this campaign, you may have seen a star for many elections to come.
Now, you were on the floor when she gave her speech?
Absolutely.
Tell me how the people around you were acting.
The crowd was, well, in fact, the toughest part, I think, for the staff out there that works with people and that keep control was to allow her to at least have some time to get going with the rhythm of the speech, because people were that excited. They wanted to just keep going and cheering, and just a ton of enthusiasm.
Did you have any interactions with any of the protesters outside?
Bumped into a few on the way, even just tonight, a few on the way in. You know, most of them are just got a chip on their shoulder, and you just say hi and be polite, move on. It's not too bad. But not our bus, but the bus that came after us last night. A couple of Wisconsin delegates were on, actually had their bus rocked around a little bit, and they had to back up and move back and take an alternate route to get on in. So for them, it was a little scarier than most.
There was a story on CNN yesterday that Doyle received $24,750, I believe, from a Florida energy company a few weeks before he changed his position on nuclear power. What do you think about that?
Well, it's part of a troubling pattern out there. You know, you see a guy who before the election claimed he would never, under no circumstances, no how, no way, raise taxes, and then raise taxes $3 billion once he got, or at least proposed raising it $3 billion after he got into office. A lot of issues out there he flip-flop on. The fact that he's flip-flopped, not just because he didn't mean it, but in this case, at least the appearance being because he got a big campaign contribution, I think is even more trouble. Those are the sorts of things that I think a good campaign could stroke out and make an issue on come 2010.
I saw your veto of the referendum for the sales tax got overridden. Opinion?
In some ways, this would be my fourth time I've had them upheld. All three times before, one of those supervisors flipped and allowed it to have the necessary votes they needed. In the end, it may be a blessing, because I'm confident that when the voters realize this is a $130 million tax increase, it will make Milwaukee County, if enacted, the largest tax increase in the state. And despite all the promises about property tax relief, the county board passed a sales tax increase in 1991 to raise it 0.5%. That sales tax was passed with this explicit promise that it would be for property tax relief. Property taxes the next decade went up 55%. I think when people get the facts, it is going to fail overwhelmingly. And then finally, we can start talking about something that saves our transit system that doesn't involve a tax increase.
Care to guess on what the breakdown of that vote will be?
Yeah, all I need is 50 plus 1. Because I think any failure to pass it, even if it barely is defeated with 51% of the vote against, I think in the end, that's enough to send a clear message to the county board and state legislature this shouldn't pass. But I think it'll be at least 60. I think you might have 2-to-1 odds in terms of that many people coming out to say we don't want a tax increase, particularly now when the economy is such as it is. The last thing you want for jobs and for residents is a $130 million tax increase.
Do you have any expectations for McCain's speech this evening?
I think it's just going to be solid. I think it's going to be a nice contrast between a great speaker and a great leader. I think Sarah Palin, I think Rudy Giuliani, I think all the other speakers kind of lined it up that way last night and the night before, where they said this is a guy who, who's built his career on the issue of change. His career has been about changing Washington, and I think he's got to articulate that. And I think tonight probably the key is he's got to go beyond just his war story and the change of maverick status and actually tell people what would be different after 4 years as John McCain is the President of the United States. I think he's going to be up to it.
Right. Well, thank you for your time. You have a great convention.
You too. Good to be with you.